Hey guys, Island Homesteader here. I'm back at those hives that I showed you the other day that somebody's going to give me. She thought maybe she had some bees swarming, and I don't know if you can see, there are some bees flying in and out of that box still. I still think it's just mine robbing, but we'll find out when we get the top off for sure. I looked in there the other day and there was no bees in there, so, and I don't know what they're in there doing because there just isn't anything in there really for them to rob out. Unless we've had a swarm come in since I was here several days ago. So we're going to go into this one first. This is an 8-frame box, and I don't have any 8-frame equipment, so this will be my my only stuff. It's 2 deeps and a medium, and I'll show you what it looks like when we get inside there. So the top box they were just using as a super. And they've actually got a 7-frame spacer up here, which a lot of people do in their supers. They'll take a 10 down to a 9, and in this case an 8-frame down to a 7. But you can see that these have brand new plastic foundation that's never been drawn. So I'll take that and just coat it in some wax. It doesn't even feel like it's wax coated, it's just plastic, which is why the bees never drew it out. So that's the top box. It's a medium. Now the next box down is where it starts to get a little more interesting. As you can see that there had been comb in these boxes. They've got a 7-frame spacer in this one too, so it's only 7 frames. But you can see, and no one's been in here to clean these things since the wax moth got in, so the wax moths just absolutely have devastated this hive. They've chewed everything out, all of the comb that was in there, and completely ruined even all the foundation. You can see with the wires that this was wired wax foundation. That's what those wires are. So a lot of these frames, I don't know, I'll have to think about reusing them. Some of them may just wind up in the trash, the ones without foundation in them, because they're kind of old. And I don't know how easy it's going to be to clean. One of the things you got to worry about when you get an old hive from somebody, especially when it's died out, is you got to worry about disease in the hive. So because I really don't have any idea what happened to this hive, why it happened like it did. But disease is a big issue. You don't ever want to bring disease back into your own hive or into your own apiary. So here you can see that obviously there was a wax moth problem. These are all wax moth cocoons, and they're all over this thing. I don't know why that won't focus. There we go. These wax moth cocoons even have had some dirt daubers in here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this one does have 8 frames in it. As you can see, some of this did have foundation on it, so I may save that. Those can be sprayed with a bleach water mixture, and I'll show you what I'm going to do to the boxes when I get them down on the ground. See, this is what happens when wax moths move in and completely destroy a hive. This is all their cocoons or their webs that they leave behind. These were probably frames full of comb and stuff, and it just got completely destroyed by wax moths. Alright, so let me get these down on the ground and I'll show you what I'm going to do down there. So what I'll do, and what most beekeepers will do if they're getting equipment they don't know anything about, is you'll take a torch, just like the one I used to light my smoker, and you'll burn the inside of the hives. Some people will do it even more than this. They'll scorch them because you're trying to kill any bacteria that may be in there, any spores, any fungal spores, anything like that. You're trying to make sure you kill off on the inside of the box. And this is a pretty accepted method. Probably what I'll do after this is I'll wire brush this a little bit when I get it home, and then I'll probably still spray it with at least a 10% bleach solution, and then let it sit out in the sun and really dry and air out really well before I even think about using them. These frames, I will spray with that 10% bleach solution and let them sit out in the sun and dry before I use them. Those frames with the wired in foundation, I'm probably just going to throw all of those frames away. They're old frames anyway. These are much newer, so all of those frames will probably just go in the trash at this point. But I just wanted to show you that's what you that's how you can at least have a better idea of knowing that what you're bringing into your apiary is safe if you've gotten stuff from somebody you don't know. So this is what that 10 frame hive looks like. This is the top of the super that was on it, and you can see how bad the wax moths were. It's a kind of a weird box. They've got 3 mediums coming up from the bottom, then this deep, and then that other medium on the very top. This box is just going to go into the trash. The corners are all rotten off of it, and unfortunately, even though these frames have plastic foundation on them that the wax moths have just totally taken all the wax off of, I just don't know that I feel very comfortable bringing these frames home. They look like they're in fairly decent shape though, so I'll get them down on the ground and look. You can see all this stuff hanging off of the frames. You can see all this stuff here. There's a lot of bees flying around actually, but I don't think there's any way there's any bees living in this hive. I think, like I said in my other video, that they're bees from my hive. They just smell the beehive and they're in here checking it out, and I don't think they're looking to swarm. If they're out of my hives, they're not looking to swarm, because none of my hives are big enough to swarm. And I was just in them all yesterday, and there's no queen cells or anything in any of them. So I think they just smell the old wax and whatever, and they're just in there looking at this point is what's going on. So let me get these boxes down on the ground, because I'm like 8 feet up in the air. Get these boxes down on the ground and I'll take a better look at them down there. So if you've never seen it, this is what a wax moth, if you've never seen it, this is what a wax moth infestation looks like. These are the cocoons that the larva develops in, and you can see this is why you got to be careful carrying stuff back. If I'm getting something like this from somebody, I always clean it at their place before I put it in my car and bring it home. That's why I've already done those over there. I've already scorched those and scraped everything, just letting it air out a little bit and cool off before I put them in a car. But I'll do it all at the location. Now unfortunately this 10 frame hive, all of the boxes are in bad shape except maybe one. There's maybe one box there that I'll be able to keep, but the rest of these are already starting to rot. They've been in service for quite a while. The top and the inner cover I'll be able to use, I think, once I scrape all these cocoons off and then scorch them. But everything else is just going to go into the trash. You really have to be careful bringing stuff in. Biosecurity in your apiary is really a big deal. So today when I get done here, what I'll do is this hive tool I'll heat up with the torch, make sure I've killed anything on this hive tool. I'm wearing gloves so that they'll just go into the trash, and I will not go to my own hives today in the same clothes that I'm wearing right now. I'll change clothes. I don't have any plans to go in there today anyway, but if I were, I would change clothes before I went into the hives. So you can see this is all of this. This is all the old wax that those wax moths have chewed up from the boxes on top of them. This is the very bottom box. You can just see all that stuff, and it's deep down in the very bottom down there. I don't know if you can see down in there, but it's deep down in there, just all the debris from them chewing. And like I said, you got to be careful, because just looking, these cocoons, a lot of these cocoons look like they're old cocoons, but then if you look, they've got there's larvae in them right there. That one's starting to what they're doing is they're pupating here into moths. So they've already gone around as little larvae, chewed all the wax, ate the protein that they needed to develop, and now they're pupating. You can see that one's already got what looks like wings on it. So that's what all these are doing. These are pupating into moths at this point. So that was going to be a lot of moths coming out of this hive, but hopefully we'll get them all scraped out of here, and they'll just die out here exposed to the elements. So not quite as good as I thought it was going to be. I will get those 3 boxes for the 8 frame. I'll be able to save that in 1 box out of this 10 frame. But other than that, the rest of it's just going to go into the trash. And luckily, our county's doing a large item pickup. Today's Friday. They're doing a large item pickup on Monday, so I'm just going to carry all this stuff across the street. And I don't even have to put it in my car and tote it out of here. So I am going to come back and cut that stand down for the homeowner, and then drag the pieces of the stand across the street into the pile too. And you know, just she's an elderly lady. It's just her and her daughter who has some physical handicaps, so she's not able to do it herself. So just doing a good deed. They needed to have this stuff cleaned up anyway. I will get a little, you know, a little equipment out of it. She's also given me an electric knife, a decapping knife, and I think she might have a 2-frame extractor. She says she's got some new frames and stuff still in boxes. They're in a room underneath the house, but she's got stuff stacked all up in front of them. She's having a yard sale in a few weeks, and she said after the yard sale and they get that stuff cleared out, and whatever else out of there, that all the bee stuff in the room is mine, whatever she's got. So sometimes, you know, doing nice things for your neighbors pays off in the end. So anyway, guys, let me wrap this video up. I've already rambled on long enough, but anyway, I just wanted to show you, you know, sometimes if you look out for things, or just keep your ear out, or people just know you in the community, you might run across things like this. And for the most part, like I said, I'm not really getting that much out of it, but I am helping a neighbor. So that in itself is worth it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. God bless.